Uh, so we are starting Bhagavad Gita chapter 1 in English. There's some disclaimer that I want to give all of you before I start, is that there are certain words in Sanskrit that, if kept in the same language, would actually make more sense than translated in English. And I'm just going to preserve those terms as we go. Okay. Chapter 1, which is Adhyay first, is actually Arjun Vishad Yog, which means Arjun is really upset. This is a conversation. The book is a conversation between Krishna and Arjun. I hope you all know who is interested in this. So, some keywords that we're going to preserve, I'm just going to share this here, but later, as we come and read through the book, I will also explain the vocabulary in English so that we are able to understand it. For example, Atma, Swabhav, Sakshi, Karm, Dharm, Yagya, Buddhi, Sthit Pragya, Sannyas, Kam, Krodh, Gyan, Shraddha, and many more. I think Man, Buddhi. So all these words, we are, if translated literal, would not actually make more sense. And that's why, just to preserve the essence of these words, we're just going to use them as they are, and I'll explain to you what they mean. Okay. So Gita's first chapter actually does not start with God himself talking. I'm sure all of you already know this. If not, so the chapter 1 does not start where Lord Krishna is talking, is actually a blind man asking about his son to one of his minister. It starts with that one word that he says, ask his minister, a blind father asking, what are my son's doings? And the word here that I want you to all focus on is my, because that word is the reason behind the whole Kurukshetra war and what's happening in your life. This is all behind the word my. So, and that's where all the suffering begins. So we're going to go there. We're going to shlok 1. So Dhritarashtra question. Dhritarashtra is the father of Duryodhan. Duryodhan and Arjun are fighting, and they are on the battlefield on opposite direction. Cousin brothers. I want, why these all information is important, because I want you to picture yourself in this. If your cousin brother is standing next opposite to you and you're fighting. Okay. So Dhritarashtra, who is the father of Arjun's cousin brother Duryodhan, the blind king is actually asking his minister Sanjay what his son, the Kaurav and the son of Pandu, are doing after assembling at Kurukshetra. Eager for battle, notably here that he's eager for battle, trying to see. And here Gita opens with a word called Dharm Kshetra Kurukshetra. I want you to understand the words here. Dharm Kshetra, a place where entire discourse in the field of righteousness. It's called Dharam Yudh, fight for Dharma. Krishna came to set up Dharma. So to understand this word, I need to take you to, we all know, understand the literal meaning of Dharma, which means, in today's world, Dharma means religion. What everybody thinks, like what religion you're from. Are you Christian? Are you Hindu? Are you Muslim? Are you Buddhist? So this is what usually people think what dharma means. But actually, dharma means doing the right thing even when it is really hard, even when it's very hard. It is not behind any personal interest, any self interest. It is not based on any emotion, but it is doing the right thing. You could say it is right action in alignment with the truth. What does right action means? Because everybody has its own definition of right and wrong. It's very difficult to be fair, you know. It's very difficult to be right and to know that I am right in this particular situation. That is what dharma means. And everybody thinks they are right. Everybody who is doing either a good thing or a bad thing, they think genuinely that they are doing the right thing for the right reasons. The problem is that you are so attached. That is where the word my comes. When you are attached, like for example here Dhritarashtra, who is so eager to kill his brother's children. Imagine, he wants to kill, he wants his son to kill his brother's children because he is so attached to his son that he wants to see him win. And now that he wants to see him win, he has lost the sense of being right and wrong. This is what attachment does to us. When we are attached to something or someone or ourselves, we lose the sense of right and wrong. We lose that sense. We lose what is right and wrong because currently for you, what I'm doing is right. That is why it is most important to know it should be beyond your self interest and your emotions. There are certain dharms that is given to you when you are born. Dharma as a child, duty to your parents, duty to this body, to keep this body fit, healthy, put good food in it, take it for exercise. That is the dharma of your body. For your parents, because you didn't choose this, you didn't choose it, but you are given your parents. So your duty as a child to take care of your parents after a certain age, that is your dharma. Then you get married, you have to be loyal to whoever you get married to, husband or wife. You cheat, you do fraud, you linger someone on along with your relationship, that is adharma. And all things that you do this in adharma actually ends up in a war-like situation. Those karma come back to you. And who's keeping the score? You may ask, who is keeping the score? Well, the universe is keeping the score. There is no ledger. I'm not keeping score. Your parents are not keeping the score. But there is universe which is keeping score for everyone, which is called karma. When you are doing the right thing, even when it is hurtful to you, even when, for example, if let's say you are married and suddenly something happens to your wife and she loses her memory or something, she has Alzheimer or something, eventually what you do is you would say, I leave her and then I marry someone else, let her die or something. I don't care, because how would you live with someone who has Alzheimer? It doesn't make sense. But the dharma would say that you have to take care of her and be honest in their relationship. If you cheat this without her permission, if she gives permission, that is a different thing. If she doesn't give permission and you do go out and be with someone else, you are cheating. Imagine, I'm giving you a worst case scenario. People are doing this on a day-to-day basis. Nothing is wrong with their life partner, nothing is wrong with your life partner. Still you want affection, love, care from someone else because you're weak. You want someone else to tell you that I love you so that you feel happy. You don't love yourself. It's very deep. If you don't love yourself, that's why you seek, external affirmations, external, you need gratification from other people. So here the dharma means this, and then you have dharma to your family, your kids, taking care of them, raising them, giving them a life. Then dharma comes to your how for example, society, your neighborhood. That is become one dharma for you. Taking care of, keeping environment clean, not throwing littering, not littering here and there, taking care of your country, resources. These all come in dharma. If you are demolishing things which are supposed to be for public use, that is adharma also. You're not being rightful to your duties. Then lastly, it comes to the nature, universe, which yesterday in the Hindi session I was telling all of you. Human beings are only species who only live for themselves. They're very selfish. Whole universe is doing things for others. Everybody is living for others except humans. They want to do everything for them. You're only taking care of your own kids, nothing else. But don't do this wrong. Don't start adopting kids like this. Ask me before you start doing these things, okay? I want you to understand it, not start applying it immediately. First you understand, because when you apply, you don't know how to apply. You don't know how to balance things. So, for example, if you are, as a human, what you're doing to the nature, how much you're wasting your water, how much electricity you're wasting, all this come in your responsibilities. This is all part of dharma. And when Krishna came, Krishna's birth was for this, to remove adharma. The land, you could say, is in the hand of someone who abuses women, who hurt people, who who is a sinner, and his brothers are also sinners. He has become the king of the place. Imagine if the king is like this, how will the kingdom survive? It won't. So Krishna's job is to replace the king, instead of someone who is doing adharma, who's cheating, who's a fraud, who is angry, who always is self-centered, selfish, so jealous. Remove that person from the position and replace it with the one who is righteous, who thinks about the people, who cares about the people, who will do the right things. That is what his job is. Now he needs to get this done by hook or crook, no matter what. Maybe, you know, by any say situation, he has to get this done, because that is what universe wants. Dharma ki sthapana, which means, again, someone who is ruling follows dharma. This is what I tell you. People who are following dharma means people who are honest, who care about others, who are spiritual. They should be on all the high positions in this world right now. All of you sitting with me, all of you who are listening, I want you, if you are spiritual, why you shouldn't be on higher position? You should be the judge in Supreme Court. You should be a lawyer. You should be a best doctor. You should be a heart surgeon. You should have ambitions. You should be a politician. You should be a politician also. Whatever things and place where you should be, where you want to be, you should definitely get it. Because if you don't be there, then someone who is not righteous will take that place. Someone who will cheat, someone who is a fraud, someone who's going to do corruption will take that place. That is why it is important that why don't you can be spiritual, you can be enlightened, and you can do all the work. You don't have to leave anything. Leaving things is agyan, is wrong knowledge. You can be wherever you are and still be enlightened and still help people. Because what I'm going to do with 11, 12, 100 million enlightened people if they're doing nothing, sitting all day and in a cave? What I'm going to do with them? Nothing. I don't need people sitting in a cave. I need people who help other people. This is called jot se jot, from candle to candle, lighting from one diya to another diya. So this is what dharma means, and that is what blindness of Dhritarashtra. This is also very important. I want you to know, having eyes or no eyes, it doesn't make any difference. The desires don't go. The attachment, he's never seen his son, but he is so attached to him. He was in a position where he could have stopped his son from hurting Draupadi, doing the Chirharan. He could have stopped him. He could have stopped so many things. He could have convinced his son that why don't you give just 5 villages to Pandu? But he never gave. Never, because he was extremely attached to his son. He wants his son to win. And this is what all of you, when the attachment is so extreme, you don't know what is right and what is wrong. Every one of us is facing this. Each one of us, all of you, when it's about attachment, you are not thinking clearly. In that moment, you're not thinking clearly. If it was someone else's son, someone else's daughter, someone else's husband, you know what is right and what is wrong immediately. But when it's about your son, your daughter, your mother, your father, your husband, your wife, suddenly things get confusing. Suddenly everything is complicated. Suddenly everything is complicated. Why? Why is it complicated? That is what I want you all to understand. Imagine this person who has everyone on his side. Duryodhan, he has Krishna's army on his side, and his guru Bhishma Pitama, all of the people who are the best warriors of their time. He has them on his side, and yet when he saw Pandu's army, he was shocked that how did they collect such big army in such less time. He was jealous, he was scared. That's the next slok. Duryodhan is serving the field, and after observing Pando's army, extremely arranged by Drishtadumya, son of Draupad, approaches his teachers, Dronacharya, and he's speaking to him. Dronacharya, who is the guru of all the Kauravas and Panda. So Duryodhan points out great warriors of Pandav side. He's pointing out who is standing on the other side. Bhim, Arjun, Yudhna, Virata, Draupad, Drishaketu, Purojit, Kunti Bhoj. So all the people, he is pointing out that they are they're extremely good people, extremely good in fighting. Then Abhimanyu. So he is anxious. Imagine, he has the biggest army, his own, Hastinapur. He has Krishna's army, and still he is anxious because he doesn't trust anyone on his side. He has no faith. Even Dronacharya, who he's talking to, he's asking him, he's telling them that they are, who are standing on the opposite side. He doesn't trust his own army. This is what a self-centered man is always. One who is with ego. Please understand, these are all, don't take these from, literal meanings like Duryodhan, Krishna, Arjun. They are just characters now. What has happened ages ago. What now is, your own ego will also be like this. When you are in ego, when you are completely, I know what is right, you will also be like this. You won't trust anyone. We lose trust. Faith comes from surrender. When you believe that people are with you, when you believe God is listening, it comes from surrender. I don't have to, I don't ask anyone to prove their faith to me. I think it's very childish because I know everyone is God. But people do expect me to prove, and that is their own insecurities, not mine. Your ego won't let you believe, won't let you have faith. And that is the only gap here right now. Why you are not knowing yourself. It doesn't take this much time, my dear angels. It doesn't take this much time to know yourself. If you know, since since the start of the times till now, you have not changed. You are same. Then what is taking so long? It's that your ego doesn't want to surrender. It doesn't want to surrender to its true identity. You don't want to let go. You think you are, for example, I take my name, I'm Prakriti, I'm this body, this is my identity. The more stronger you believe this, the more hurt you get. More stronger and powerful this belief is inside of you that I am this body, more you get hurt because more challenges are going to come for it to be questioned. You will be questioned every step of the way. People will belittle you, they will disrespect you, they won't trust you, they will hurt you. They are not challenging you, they are challenging this body. But the more you are attached to this, the more you will get hurt. If you are not getting hurt, that does not mean that you are not attached to the body. Please let me clarify this. It just mean that you don't care. There are two phases to it. One is I don't care, and other is I care, but I know that it's this body that they're talking about, not me. We are mostly in I don't care. What do they know? We are mostly in this ego. Like, who knows what this person would know about me? I don't care what they're saying. So Duryodhan, having the greatest army, great warriors, still anxious. This shows power of God. This shows power of truth. You would be also having everything you have, a house, family, kids, money, everything you have. But still, you are always anxious, upset, angry. Why? What's missing? Well, the God is not standing on your side, or you are standing on the opposite side. You are being Duryodhan when you're standing on the opposite side. So he is anxious, and then what he does is, when you are anxious, when you are upset, when you are angry, what you do? When you see other people's strength, what you do? You start showing your own strength so that you gain confidence. So that's what he does. It's a very natural human behavior. All these things are natural human behavior. So what Duryodhan is doing is he started highlighting his warriors, you know, Bhishma, Karn, Kripa, Ashwathama, Vikarn, Bhurishravas, and reminding Drona that his army too has powerful warriors. So trying to gain confidence, you know. And cunningly, Duryodhan purposefully addresses his teacher as the best among twice born or Brahmins, best among the Brahmins. He's trying to boost his, teacher's ego. You know how the people does when you want to praise someone, you are one of the best Brahman and on my side. Also showing that if you are not on my side, if you're not fighting for me, you'd be considered a lowly person. Because on this side you are, so you are great Brahman. This is what ego does. And you all have done this in your life. Why I say this, every one of you are doing these small, small things. If when you are living day to day, see how your ego is portraying. All we need to do is kill this ego. This is what I do every day. A lot of people come and say a lot of things to me. I listen, I understand. I understand from where they are talking, but they never understand from where I am talking. It's a very hard to know from where I'm talking, you know? It's a very hard. So I like to stay, mum. It's easier way. So Duryodhan on Shlok 9, he's declaring that there are many other brave heroes ready to lay down their lives for his sake. See how he's boosting his ego. Many people are ready to kill themselves for me. All skilled in various weapons and experienced in strategy. This is what he's trying to showcase. Now, losing confidence. His ego is here, which is we call ahankar. That I know, I am better, I am everything. In your life, around, around 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, you also have this. You're also always like, I'm right, I know, I'm I'm the best person. I know the best decision. But you don't know the best decision many times because you don't know. You don't know how to deal. You don't know how to talk. You don't know what is right and wrong because you are yourself so attached to this materialistic world. You can never know what is right and wrong. A mother taking care of her children, even when he is peeing on her, pooping on her, still loving him. He is hurting. Maybe physically, sometimes he hurt also his mother. But she is still doing right by the child. That is dharma. She is doing her dharma, irrespective of what others are saying, irrespective of the what the child is saying. Even when you are getting harmed, you're still doing the right thing. Always doing the right thing. You have taken someone's money and you have to give it back. Now you also don't have money to give back. What you would do? You would cheat, you will fraud, you will let the person go. I don't know. You try to talk to the person, give me some time, I'll give you back in a while. But if he doesn't do, then you arrange the money and give to the person. There's nothing else you can do. That is the, even when you are getting hurt, the right thing to do is give the money back. But it's so hard. Doing right thing is so hard. Always protect people. If someone comes and tell you, you have two friends, one friend is telling you about bad things about another friend, you know what you will do? Immediately you'll go to the other friend and say, this person, she says she's such a nice friend of yours, but she's always backbiting about you. Immediately you will go and tell. The right thing would be just to stay mum. Instead you tell this person, no, you are wrong, she's your friend, be there for her. What we do, you will go to the person and say, oh, your so and so friend is talking about you like this. This is mixed karmas. You are making mixed karmas like this. and you have no idea. Even if you agree to the person, if someone comes in backbiting to you and you agree, okay, okay, just to shut them up, okay, okay, still made karma. Karma is done. You agreed. Immediately shut them up. Please, I don't like to hear these kind of things. This is what I used to do. Someone comes and, put a on phone call, tells me like, so and so person did this, talking about other people. I was like, please don't talk to me about other people. When you and me are talking, only talk to me about you and me. That's it. I don't want to talk about anyone else. It doesn't make sense. Because if the person is not there to defend themselves in the conversation, then you are just doing speculation, assumptions, one sided story. This is what leads to a lot of miscommunication and relationship problems. The core teaching, the deeper layer of Dharma Kshetra, which meaning we want to say is Kurukshetra, is to mirror our inner world. The infinite peace of Atma is disturbed by the conflict and attachment, which is outside world that you are constantly attached and in conflict with. They always, I think, so many reels you would have also seen, Kurukshetra is not outside, Kurukshetra is inside. You are fighting, Man is Duryodhan, Atma is Krishna. So all of these things, you are fighting with yourself. So sorry, Duryodhan is desires, Man is Arjun, and then Krishna is Atma. So Man is questioning the Atma to get out of desires. So this is your inner battle, and that is the whole problem. The root of all adharm in this world is not hatred. Please understand this. The root of all adharm, all cheating, all fraud is not hatred. It is blind attachment masquerading as love. Blind attachment, which you are fakingly calling it love. It's not love. Love is so pure. It is selfless. Attachment is selfish. Attachment says, why me? Why my husband? Why my friend? Why my son? Why my this? Love says, I bless you. I forgive you. Maybe I'm wrong. You are right. That is love. I don't want to hurt you. Even though I'm right, I admit that I'm wrong. This is love. Even though I'm right in this situation, but I will admit that I'm wrong so that we end this conversation on a good note. That is love. And then later, when people are in receiving mind, you talk, you share your point of view. I'm not saying you end the conversation there and be the doormat or be the negative person, but at least in the moment, you understand other person, where they're coming from. It's a very tough thing and it takes a lot of time. Relationship handling, relationship management is now these corporate people are calling all of this. It's one of the hardest thing to do because people are very sensitive. They all have ego and they all are working on their own knowledge, own gyan, own man, own buddhi, their own sense of knowing what is right and wrong. But you come here, my job is to free you from all attachments. And once you get free, by freeing means you don't have to leave them. Free from attachment means from within you are not attached to it. If my phone is with me, I'm happy. If someone steals my phone or if I misplace it, I cannot live without it. That is attachment. Okay. Or if someone took it even for 1 day or 2 days, you cannot, oh, where is my phone, where's my phone, you're always thinking like this. That is attachment from within. Nobody, I don't want you to leave your phone, I don't want you to leave your job, I don't want you to leave making money, but in your mind constantly thinking about those things, that is attachment. And that is the reason all your sorrows and miseries are there. That is the reason Dhritarashtra is ready to kill his brother's children, because he's so attached with his son. He wants his son to win.